Have you ever noticed how differently people react to setbacks? When criticized by their boss for a mistake at work, some people feel down for days, thinking, I can't do anything right, and struggle to focus on their daily tasks. Others, however, bounce back the same day. They analyze what went wrong, think about how to improve next time, and show up the next morning full of energy. The same goes for relationships. After a breakup, some people fall into the anxiety of, I'll never meet the right person again, and avoid love for a long time. While others, after feeling sad for a while, reflect on what I've learned from this relationship and move forward with an open heart. This ability to adapt, recover, and regain balance after facing difficulties is what psychology calls psychological resilience. People with high resilience are worth keeping close, whether as friends or partners. They don't get crushed easily by challenges. And when you're going through a low point, they can lift you up. Being around them gives you the comforting sense that, no matter what happens, there's always a way through. What is psychological resilience? The concept of psychological resilience has its roots in developmental psychology and was influenced by Erik Erikson's theories on human development. It was later developed and clearly defined by researchers such as Norman Garmazzi, Emmy Werner, and Ann Maston. Today, it's commonly defined as a person's ability to adapt their emotions and behaviors in the face of stress, setbacks, or trauma, to return to a stable state, or even grow stronger through the experience. In simpler terms, it's the capacity to withstand hardship and recover quickly. Many people mistake high resilience for simply having a positive mindset, or not feeling sad. But that's not true. People with strong resilience also feel sadness and anxiety when facing difficulties, for instance, worrying about the future after losing a job or feeling heartbroken after a breakup. These are normal emotional responses. The difference is that resilient people don't stay stuck in those emotions for long. Once the initial feelings pass, they take active steps to solve the problem. For example, someone lost their job. At first, they couldn't sleep, they kept thinking, I have no idea what to do next. But within a week, things change. They updated their resume, looked back at what they were good at, and even signed up for an online course to grow their skills. They realized, being sad won't help, it's better to focus on what comes next. That's a perfect example of psychological resilience, allowing yourself to feel negative emotions without being controlled by them, and taking initiative to change your situation. Psychological research also shows that resilience isn't innate, nor is it something you either have or don't have. It's more like a skill that can be gradually developed through practice. Just like a muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it becomes, and the faster you recover when life gets tough. What are the traits of people with strong psychological resilience? When you observe people with high psychological resilience, you'll notice a few clear traits that help them adapt quickly in the face of difficulties, and also make them the kind of people worth keeping close to. 1. They view problems objectively, neither exaggerating difficulties nor denying their emotions. People with strong resilience don't see one failure as a lifetime of failure. Nor do they treat a challenge as an impossible dead end. For example, if they fail an exam, they'll think, I wasn't well prepared this time, I'll do better next time. Instead of, I'm stupid, I'll never pass. If they argue with a friend, they'll think, maybe there was a communication issue, I should talk to them. Instead of, they don't like me anymore, our friendship is over. At the same time, they don't suppress or dismiss their emotions. If a project fails, they won't say, I'm not sad, it's no big deal. But rather acknowledge, I do feel sad, but now I need to think about how to improve. This balance, analyzing problems rationally while accepting emotions honestly, keeps them from falling into extreme thinking and helps them find constructive solutions more quickly. 2. They know how to both self-regulate and seek help. People with strong psychological resilience don't insist on handling everything alone. Nor do they rely completely on others to solve their problems. They understand when to seek support and when to adjust on their own. For example, when they face a problem at work they can't solve, they'll proactively ask colleagues or supervisors for advice, instead of struggling in silence out of fear of seeming incompetent. When they're in a bad mood, They'll try to relax in their own way, by going for a run, watching a movie, or doing something soothing. If self-adjustment doesn't work, they're not afraid to reach out to friends or even seek professional counseling. I once went through a difficult period and felt deeply low. A friend noticed and didn't just say, "Don't be sad." Instead, they took a walk with me, listened to my frustrations, and helped me think through small, practical steps I could take right away. This balance, knowing when to rely on yourself and when to reach out for support, allows resilient people to recover from setbacks faster and move forward with clarity and strength. 3. They have a growth mindset and can find lessons in difficulties. Psychologist Carol Dweck introduced the idea of the growth mindset, the belief that abilities can be developed through effort and learning. It's one of the key factors that help people build strong psychological resilience. Those with a growth mindset believe that abilities can be developed through effort and learning. When they face challenges, they focus on, "What can I learn from this?" rather than, "Maybe I'm just not good enough." For example, a salesperson who fails to meet targets for several months might think, "I'm just not cut out for sales, I should find another job." That's a fixed mindset. But someone with a growth mindset would think, "Maybe my sales approach needs improving. I should learn from colleagues who are doing better." The first person gets discouraged by setbacks, while the second learns from them and grows stronger over time. People with strong psychological resilience tend to have this growth-oriented mindset. They don't see failure as proof of inadequacy, but as feedback for improvement, a chance to grow. And when you spend time with them, you often find yourself learning the same thing, not to fear failure, but to use it as fuel for growth. Psychological resilience determines how far a person can go. In psychology, there's a concept called the frustration threshold, the level of difficulty or setback a person can endure. People with higher psychological resilience have a higher threshold, the greater the challenge they face, the more potential they can tap into, and the farther they can go. For example, imagine two people with similar abilities starting a business together. Both face the same problems at the beginning: lack of funding and too few customers. Someone with low resilience might become anxious and give up after a few months without profit, thinking, "Starting a business is too hard, I just can't do it." Someone with high resilience, however, would see lack of funding as a signal to seek investment or reduce costs, and too few customers as a cue to improve the product or expand marketing channels. By continuously adjusting their strategies, they eventually increase their chances of success. The same applies to relationships. Conflicts between partners are inevitable. A person with low resilience might think after one argument, "We're not compatible, let's break up." But someone with high resilience sees the disagreement as a chance to understand each other better. Initiating open conversations like, "What did I do wrong?" or "What would you like me to do differently next time?" Over time, this willingness to communicate helps the relationship grow more stable and intimate. Studies also show that people with higher psychological resilience tend to have better careers, healthier relationships, and stronger physical and mental well-being. Because they don't remain trapped in negative emotions for long. Their cortisol levels, the stress hormone, are lower, making them less prone to insomnia, anxiety, or other stress-related issues. In short, psychological resilience is one of the key foundations that determine how far, and how well, a person can go in life. How to build your psychological resilience. Psychological resilience isn't something you're born with, it's a skill that anyone can strengthen through practice. The key is to start small and apply these 3 methods in your daily life. 1. When facing difficulties, ask yourself, "What's one small thing I can do right now?" Many people feel paralyzed when confronted with big problems because the challenge seems overwhelming. For example, when they can't find a job, they might immediately think, "My future is hopeless," and spiral into anxiety. At moments like this, try breaking the big problem into small, doable actions by asking yourself, "What's one small thing I can do right now, even if it helps just a little?" For instance, if you're unemployed, a small step could be updating your resume, sending one job application, or watching a short course on interview skills. If you've had an argument with your partner, a small step might be taking half an hour to cool down, or sending a message like, I was a bit emotional earlier, let's talk later. Every time you take one small action, you strengthen the belief that, I'm not helpless, I can do something to improve the situation. Over time, these small wins accumulate, building confidence, and with it, your psychological resilience grows stronger. 2. Write down 3 good things each day to cultivate a positive perspective. People with high psychological resilience don't ignore difficulties, they simply have the ability to notice the positive side even in hard times. You can train this mindset by developing a simple habit, recording 3 good things that happen each day. Every evening, spend 5 minutes writing down 3 things that went well today. They don't have to be big achievements, small moments count too. Like, I got up on time. I enjoyed my favorite lunch. Or, a friend replied to my message. At first, you might feel like nothing really went well today. But if you keep it up, you'll gradually become more aware of the small joys and positive moments in daily life. Then, when difficulties arise, you'll be less likely to focus only on what's wrong and more able to think, this is tough, but I've handled challenges before, I can get through this one too. This positive perspective helps you regain balance more quickly when facing setbacks. And over time, it becomes one of the strongest foundations of psychological resilience. 3. Take on small challenges to strengthen your ability to handle setbacks. Psychological resilience is like a muscle. It grows stronger with regular, moderate training. You can build it by intentionally giving yourself small challenges, such as trying a new recipe, speaking up once during a meeting, or asking a stranger for directions. These tasks aren't too difficult, but they allow you to experience the process of facing and overcoming small obstacles, gradually building confidence in your ability to solve problems. For example, I used to be afraid of speaking in front of groups. Later, I started challenging myself to share one idea during small team meetings. At first, I was nervous, but afterward I realized that wasn't so bad. Over time, I became comfortable speaking in larger meetings. And when I faced situations that required addressing many people, I could handle them calmly. Each of these small challenges, and the success that comes with them, helps you develop the inner confidence that when bigger difficulties arise, you'll be able to handle them too. Psychological resilience doesn't mean never feeling sad or fragile. It means being able to stand back up after sadness, and becoming stronger through vulnerability. It's not a gift you're born with, but a skill anyone can develop through practice. It may not be the only factor that determines how far a person can go in life, but it's certainly one of the most essential foundations. People with strong psychological resilience are worth keeping close, not because they never make mistakes, but because they don't let mistakes defeat them, not because they're always happy, but because even after sadness, they find their way back to joy, and help you find yours too. When you spend time with people like this, you begin to realize that challenges aren't meant to break you, they're meant to make you stronger. May you gradually strengthen your own psychological resilience, to enjoy life fully in good times, and to face hardships with calm and courage. And may you meet resilient people along the way, those who turn difficulties into opportunities for growth, and help make life steadier, kinder, and more fulfilling.